Good morning, everyone. We are in lesson number 9 of Learning TradeStation. My name is Jesus Nava. I'm the Director of Client Training and Education here at TradeStation. Again, it is a pleasure to be here with all of you, and I just want to welcome everyone that has taken the time to join us in this class. Learning TradeStation is an educational program divided in 12 different and unique lessons. They're here in this schedule. Today is January 26th. We are doing lesson number 9, Trading Options with OptionStation Pro. We still have 3 more classes to go this week. Tomorrow we'll cover some additional data tools that are available in TradeStation, like the news window, time and sales, some tools that allow you to do some research on stocks. We'll look at the browser window within TradeStation and the ticker bar, which are tools that are, not so much mentioned in TradeStation. And we just wanted to have a class that goes over all those additional data tools that are available on the platform and that could, benefit you in, getting additional information on any of the topics that you're searching on. On Thursday, we're going to do an introduction to easy language. So if you're interested in learning about customizing your own indicators or modifying the ones that are on TradeStation, make sure that you join us in lesson number 11. And lesson number 12, the one that we titled the TradeStation website and our online presence, we'll talk about our online offerings when you go to TradeStation.com. We'll also take a look at some of the mobile tools that we have available. So we'll take a look at the TradeStation mobile app that is available in the App Store for Apple and also for Android, and I believe it's the Play Store, or whatever the Android store is called. So we'll have those. We'll have a presentation. I'll give you some pointers on how to use the mobile apps and also web trading, because you can access your TradeStation account from any browser, and there's a tool that is web-based that allows you to place trades and take a look at your account and how it's going without having to be in front of your platform. So great functionality on lesson number 12. And again, I encourage everyone to register for that class. As I said earlier, we're doing lesson number 9 today. Let's take a look at some of the topics that we're going to cover today. Let me pull up the PDF. For those that haven't been here in the past lessons, the PDFs and all relevant information about this class is right there at the bottom right corner of the player. Click on that little folder and it'll give you access to the PDF. The PDF I'm showing right now, this is a table of contents. We're going to take a look at OptionStation Pro. So today's class is all about options and how you can trade them using OptionStation Pro. We're going to create theoretical options positions. We're going to place some trades. We're going to manage orders, manage real positions. Take a look at Spreadmaster and what it is, what it represents. We're going to take a look at graphing and the functionality in OptionStation Pro to create a 2D graph, but also a 3D graph. So we'll take a look at that. And also how to go around the settings in OptionStation Pro. Take into consideration that this is not a class about how to interpret option spreads. This is just a class on functionality and how to go around OptionStation Pro to use the functionality that's there. So just keep that in mind. The chat is at the left-hand side of the player. Some of you have started using it already. Keep in mind that all your comments and questions are visible to everyone, and it's there for you to send any comments or any questions about the class. So if there's anything that you think needs additional clarification, just let me know, and I'll take some time to make sure that everybody understands and we're all on the same page about the functionality. This presentation is being recorded. We have said in the past that we are going to wait until the end of the series. So the end of the series is this Friday. So I would imagine that the following week we're going to do some production and uploading of the videos. So sometime first week or second week of February, we should have all the new videos replacing the ones that are currently in the archive. But if you do want to take a look at the archive version of this class, let me share the link with everyone here. That's where you'll find the videos of this class. The ones that are in that link are the previous instance of this class we did back in, I believe it was back in April. But the new videos, the new presentations that are being recorded right now, those are going to be available by the second week of February. Before we proceed, here's some important information. The following presentation is for educational purposes only. All symbols and trading ideas discussed here are for demonstration purposes and are not recommendations of TradeStation. Active trading is not suitable for everyone, especially options trading, which carries a high degree of risk and of course is not suitable for all traders. If you want to read additional information on the risks associated with online trading, take a look at the two links that I'm submitting in the chat. All right. Donald, thank you for pointing out the misreference on the page. I'll take a look at that and see if we can adjust it for future classes and for the PDF that's going to be uploaded to the website. Thank you very much for the pointer. Let's go ahead and switch over to TradeStation. And let me get rid of this PDF that I have on the screen, and I'm back on TradeStation. Before I jump over to OptionStation Pro, because TradeStation does offer you certain functionality when it comes to options. So if you want to do some options analysis on TradeStation, you're able to do so. You don't necessarily have to go to OptionStation Pro in order to look at options. Sometimes you may be looking at other markets, you're looking at stocks, you're looking at futures, and you don't want to take your eyes away from TradeStation. So a lot of users prefer to look at options within the platform, and that's something that's possible. In fact, when we talked about the order bar, we did point out that there is an options tab right here in the order bar that allows you to place options trades. The functionality within TradeStation is not as, I would say, easy to use as it is in OptionStation Pro. I feel that OptionStation Pro makes it easier for you to build spreads and analyze spreads. TradeStation does offer you some of that functionality, but sometimes it's a little more cumbersome to build some spreads. I'll give you an example. Right here in options, in the symbol box, you can click on the magnifying glass here to look for options. I'll use spiders in this class as an example. So I'm just going to type in the symbol for spiders, SPY, right here. I'm looking for stock options, and I click on lookup. This will give you a whole list of options that are brought inside this symbol lookup based on the filter settings. You know, it's a little limited because it only goes out 3 strike prices and 3 expiration dates. But if you want to get more, you can click on this modify filter, and that allows you to increase the number of strike prices that are being brought and the number of expiration dates out that it's loading in the search results. So once you make the changes you want, then it'll apply it. Let's go ahead and see if we can change the expirations out to 5, and then click OK. Once you change the filters, you see the filter changes up here, and you click on lookup one more time so that it applies a filter to the lookup. And if I want to trade maybe a February monthly call, I come over here to February 19th, which is the 3rd week of February, and those are the monthly options. And let's say that I want to select the 190 call right there, and I click OK. That call is going to be loaded up here in the symbol box. Now these are single options. You know, this is just the 190 call. If you wanted to build a spread out of this call, single call, you can do it also from within TradeStation by going to this button that says Spreads. And Spreads is a button that is only available in the Options tab because that's where it applies. You know, you create option spreads. If you click on the Spreads button, you have options to buy to open the spread or sell to open the spread if you want to be the seller of an option. If you're an options trader, you know that everyone has to go through an approval process, and you get approved to different levels of options trading. The most level number 1, which is the level that most options traders are approved for first, is the one that you buy calls and buy puts. But as you get more experienced with options, you can apply for different levels, the ones that are more risky when it comes to selling options, which carries an obligation. So from over here, I can go to buy to open, and let's say that I click on vertical. It does build a vertical for me right in here in the option spread order bar that I can modify. So you can modify the quantity, You can select a different strike price, a different expiration if you wanted to do so, or a different strike price from the strike price drop-down. So some of this functionality has been transferred and implemented in OptionStation Pro, but at any point in your use of our platform, if you want to trade options, you can do it right from here, from the order bar. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at another thing. Because one of the things that OptionStation Pro does not allow you to do is create a chart. So if you wanted to build a chart and look at the historical prices of a particular option, you'd have to come here to TradeStation to see that chart. Let me go ahead and cancel out of this. And I'm going to click on Trading Apps and click on Chart Analysis. All right. And since this is a symbol that I used last, this is my put. This is the 188 put. You can see it right here on the title bar. If you wanted to change the symbol, it works as any other chart in TradeStation where you just type it in and it loads that symbol for you. So if I wanted to maybe do a 190 call, I just type in SPY. I know the date is 16/02/19, which is the date of the expiration, February 19th, 2016, and then I do a C for a call, and then the 190, which is the strike price, and I hit enter, and then I have a chart of the call. Symbology, it's pretty long, pretty lengthy when it comes to options. So if you're looking for a better way to enter symbols in a chart, you can do what's called symbol linking. And that's one of the nice things about OptionStation Pro, that it allows you to link your OptionStation Pro to TradeStation, so that as you click on different calls or different puts from within the option chain, it loads them up here in the TradeStation platform. We'll take a look at that once we start loading option chains on OptionStation Pro. But I think it's something that's very useful if you're if you're running TradeStation side by side to OptionStation Pro. So you could have TradeStation on one monitor and then have OptionStation Pro in the other. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at OptionStation Pro. I go to the Trading Apps little tab, and I click on OptionStation Pro. By the way, OptionStation Pro is available to all TradeStation users. There's no subscription required. It's built into the platform. What you do need is data, options data. If you don't have options data, OptionStation Pro will not load any information. So just keep that in mind, because if yours is not working, it's probably because your TradeStation is not entitled for OptionStation data. For options data. Okay. Okay, Gary, as your question about a market on close, if you do not want to own the stock, you can do all types of orders. If you want to exit out of a spread before the market closes, you can do that. There's some activation rules that we're going to take a look at here in OptionStation Pro that'll probably help you set up that type of order where you have something that it's a market order, a minute or 2 minutes before the closing price, so that you can get out of a spread or something, or a stock trade if you don't want to hold a position overnight. We'll take a look at that. Okay, this is OptionStation Pro. When you first launch OptionStation Pro, it's empty. There's no data in it. So it's waiting for you to tell it what underlying asset you want to load. Right here on the top left, you have a drop-down that allows you to look at everything that is optionable. So everything that is listed here is something that you can load options for. Rather than looking at the different things that you can load here, you can just type it in. So if you click inside the field and you type in whatever underline you want to look at, in this case I want to look at spider, as you type in, you're going to see how this is a smart search that gives you everything that matches the letters that you're typing. So sometimes it's quick for you to just click on that little drop down if you see the underline that you're looking for. In this case, I type in SPY. I don't have to click from within the box. I can just hit enter over here, and OptionStation Pro will load data for spiders. It'll give me a description that says spider S&P 500 ETF. It tells me what the symbol is. It also tells me quote data for spiders. I know that the last traded price for spiders was 189.75. The net change for the day, bid and ask information, high-low, volume for the current day, and historical volatility calculated for spiders. So at the current moment, the historical volatility for spiders is 17.5%. There are additional columns that you can insert in the asset panel for spiders. If you right-click on any of the columns here in this asset panel and go to Format Columns, it'll give you a list of different columns that are available for you to insert. The ones on the right under the selected box, are the ones that are currently displayed. But it gives you some flexibility to remove some of the data you don't need and add some of the data that you do need. For example, if you want to compare the stock volatility, in this case the ETF volatility, to the VIX volatility, I can add it over here and click OK. And I can see the VIX volatility here on the right-hand side, comparing it to the actual underlying historical volatility. Okay. Theodora, your question about options data, it is a paid entitlement. I believe there's an extra $3 that are charged to your account if you want to see real-time data for options. So you do have to subscribe to that data. Oh, Alfred, good thing that you asked that question. Alfred's question is, can we increase the font size for his old eyes? Yes, most certainly. And especially for this class. I usually, I do it for all my classes. Whenever I bring up a chart, I show you how to increase the font, especially for the videos, so the font is bigger. Let's go ahead and do that because I do know that as a default, the font size is kind of small. And it's done that way so that you can fit as much information as you want or as you can inside of the platform. But here under Appearance, on the top left corner of OptionStation Pro, you can click on Appearance. Not only can you change the font size, but you can also change the skin of OptionStation Pro. You see, by default, OptionStation Pro has a dark skin, a little different than what the TradeStation platform is, but we wanted to modernize the look of OptionStation Pro. But if you don't like it, play around with the different skins that are here. It'll change the layout. Let me just give you an example. If I click on this one right here, notice how it changes the whole look and skin of OptionStation Pro. I want to switch back to the one that I had, or the one that comes on default, which is this one. But I wanted to go here to the Appearance one more time and change the font size. I'm going to make my font 10. It tells you that the font settings are applied when you restart OptionStation Pro. So I'm going to click OK. I'm going to close out of my OptionStation Pro by clicking on the top right corner. And then I'm just going to launch it again. Trading Apps, and going to OptionStation Pro. I can already tell that the font is a little bigger, so I come here to the top left, type in Spider one more time, hit Enter. It loads my options, and yes, I see all my numbers in the exact order that I left them. William, your question about how can you tell if your options data is real-time? I believe OptionStation Pro will not load any data if you don't have options data. So one sign is that if it loads the option chain, is because it's probably entitled in your account. If you want to be sure, you can always come here to TradeStation, go to Help, Account Services, and when you go to the option here to add, remove data or features, it'll take you to the website and it'll tell you if it's added or not. So that way you're completely sure that you have added it to your account. Okay, let's go ahead and switch over to OptionStation Pro. And Giuseppe, I see your questions about implied volatility and historical implied volatility. We'll take a look at some of the columns you can insert in the option chains. For the asset panel, we only have historical volatility, VIX volatility, and those are the volatility calculations that we have in the asset panel. We do have some additional volatilities, like if you look at the option chains, you see a column here for implied volatility, so you do get some calculations. Now, in regards to the percentile of the historical implied volatility the option's currently trading at, I believe we don't provide that information. But very soon, I'm not sure, I can't really say how soon, but we are working on a version of OptionStation Pro that does allow you to do custom calculations with the help of easy language. Um, the old version of OptionStation that we had a few years back allows you to create custom indicators. And I'm pretty sure that when it comes to implied volatility and the percentile that the options are trading at, it's a calculation that can be created and brought into OptionStation Pro. Okay. For this class, I like to change things around so that we can have a little bit more space to play with. And I'll give you some pointers on how to modify the look of your OptionStation Pro, because if you can see, my OptionStation Pro is divided in two panels. We have this box right here, which is titled Option Chains. It's this whole box right here. Okay, and then we have a bottom box that is titled Theoretical Positions, which is this bottom box. So my screen, my OptionStation Pro, is split in two. What I like to do is I like to change the panels around so that I can maximize the space that I'm showing on the screen. And this is something that you can do in your OptionStation Pro. The clicking and dragging of different panels at the very first time you do it is kind of difficult to do and try to understand what it's doing. But if I click on my option chains title bar and I click and drag, actually it doesn't do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to see that you can drag the bottom one. The theoretical positions panel, I'm dragging the bottom one. I just grabbed it by the title bar. And now I'm still holding my mouse pointer, and you can see how my theoretical positions panel moves with my pointer. Now I can choose to hover over this little box that I see right above the panel. If I put my cursor on top of it, notice how there's a shade of blue towards the left-hand side. What that means is that it's going to take this panel and put it on the left side of my OptionStation Pro, filling up the whole shaded area. So as you go through the different little boxes up here, the shade will tell you where the box is going to be dropped. Now this is just to customize the look of OptionStation Pro. If I drop it right here in the middle where this little cross is, if I do it at the bottom, you can see the shade on the left, the top, or the right, or right in the middle. If I do the middle, you can see how it fills the whole area. And that's what I like to see in this class, because it combines all the tabs into one view, and I can maximize the space on the screen. When I do that, notice that all the tabs are aligned right here at the bottom, and I can click on Option Chain and it fills the whole OptionStation Pro. Now, this is for this class. It doesn't mean that you have to do it this way. Nowadays, you know, screens are huge, and you can pretty much leave OptionStation Pro the way it is, divided into panels and the tabs where they are. But for the class, I like to combine them so I can maximize the space. If you want to move them out, let's say that I want to put my theoretical positions out of the bottom. I just click on the tab, drag it, and you get the exact same crosses and little pointers that allow you to take the theoretical positions to a different place. If I want to put it on top, now I have theoretical positions on top, and now I have all the additional tabs right here at the bottom. As I said, it does take a little bit of playing around with. You know, when I first used OptionStation Pro, I was like, okay, what is this doing? So go ahead and switch panels around and different tabs around, and you'll get a feel on how you can rearrange panels in OptionStation Pro. You can always reset it to the way that it comes default. So if at any point you think that you've you've made so many changes to OptionStation Pro that you want to go back to the way that it comes by default, just click on the File menu and click on Reset to Default. You're about to change the layout of windows in OptionStation Pro. This operation cannot be undone. Do you want to continue? I'm going to say OK. And now notice that every single tab and every single panel is back to the way that it was. I like to show this because a lot of users of OptionStation Pro don't know that they can, switch things around, and it does give you a little bit more space to analyze things. So this panel on top, I can't move it. It's the main panel. It's docked. But what I'm going to take is this second panel and do the same thing that I did originally. I'm just going to click and drag it and drop it right here in the middle, so it combines all the tabs right here at the bottom. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at first option chains. We can see that OptionStation Pro loads options right here on the screen. They're grouped by expiration date. You can see that OptionStation Pro by default loads weeklies, monthlies, and quarterly options. Depending on the type of options trader that you are, you can filter those. I'll give you an example. Let's say that you don't trade weekly options and you want to remove them from the list here. The way that you remove weekly options is by going to the Settings tab, and here on the right-hand side of OptionStation Pro, there's a tab, a little button. When you hover over it, it rolls out the Settings tab, and we're going to come here many times because a lot of the settings that control OptionStation Pro are done right there on the right-hand side. What I do here is I like to make this menu bigger because it gives me a little bit more information and I can see the values better. But if I scroll down on the different settings that are available here, you have a section for option chains and show weekly options, show quarterly options, show non-standard options, and show mini options. By default, I think they're all checked. If you want to uncheck them all, it'll just be monthly options. So notice that they're all unchecked. When I go back to the option chain, the only type of options that I see are monthly options. So I see the March, April, May, June, and September. They give you the type of option they are, and they also tell you a countdown to expiration. So when I look at the February options, I know that they have 24 days, 5 hours, and 2 minutes left before expiration. Now that is important. And we decided to provide you that much granularity in the expiration countdown so that you know exactly how much time is left, especially if you're trading weekly options that have such a short time span, or live, which is just 7 days. When the expiration countdown is whole days, sometimes the calculation may be thrown off towards the end of the life of that option because it's so close to expiration and you're just counting whole days. So by giving you minutes and giving you hours, the theoretical values of the option are calculated more accurately because you have a more precision or a greater precision in time. Kirkson, your question is just a short for American. That's correct. These are American style options versus European expiration options, correct? William, your question about the SPX, if you're looking for options on the index, you'd have to use $SPX.X. That's the one that gives you the options on the actual index. These are options on the ETF or spiders, which also follows the ETF. Let's take a look at some of the things here. I'm going to open up February, and it gives you all the options that are available here for spiders. Now there's a lot of options here. I think these are not the default values. If you look at the top of your OptionStation Pro, you have 2 drop downs that control how many options are going to be loaded in your OptionStation Pro. First, strike proximity. Mine is set to 20. I'm not sure what the default value is, but this will load 20 strike prices above the current trading price and 20 strike price below the current trading price. That may be a little bit, that may be a lot. It all depends on what type of options you're looking for, but I can come here to this drop down and say, give me just 8. I don't want to see the whole 20 strike prices above and below. And the same applies to expiration proximity. You see, if you don't see the month or the year you're looking for, just increase the number of expirations that OptionStation Pro is loading in your screen. All right. I see a question from the chat. The question is, can we reorder strike values from high to low versus default, low to high? And no, that's the values here cannot be sorted. They will run from the middle out. So you have the underlying price is going to be taken into consideration, and then you have strikes above and strikes below. In fact, OptionStation Pro gives you this sort of shading where it's a lighter shade of gray in the background so that you can see what are the options that are in the money. So all the ones that have the lighter shade, it's because those are options that are in the money. The ones that have the darker shade, or the ones that have the black background, those are the ones that are out of the money. All right, let's go ahead and do some things here. I'm not sure if you noticed, but whenever you hover over the red or the green, the cursor changes, and you can see how it tells you it's a buy or a sell. So this is very similar to the functionality that we find on the matrix, where if you click on the bid or the ask, these are actually order entry columns. The same applies to bid and ask here for the underlying asset. So by clicking on the bid or the ask of the underlying asset, you are pretty much entering an order for Spider. Now don't be concerned, because when you click on these columns, you're not really sending a real order. These are all going to be theoretical orders, unless you do a combination of hotkeys and clicking that we'll get to in a little moment. But let's talk about theoretical trading for now. Now let's see, for example, that I want to buy the 190 call. If you want to buy, you hit the ask. You always buy at the ask. In fact, you see how the cursor says buy. When I click here, and I just have to do one single click, it creates a theoretical position of a long call. Now, the question is, where do you see it? Well, you have to go over here to theoretical positions. If you have your OptionStation Pro laid out as it comes default, it's going to be all the way at the bottom. You see theoretical positions. Let's click there. In my theoretical positions, I see my single option. It's 5 spiders. Because when you click on it, the default quantity is 5. That's why it says 5. For the February 19th, 2016 190 long call. This is the market price. You have 5 at 395. You can see how the price updates in real time, because that's the price of your call. And it gives you additional information about your option, the Greeks, delta, gamma. If you want to display more information, of course you have more columns. You can right-click on any of these column headers, go to Format Columns, and again, you have all these different columns and calculations that you can add to your theoretical position. So if you want to know maximum reward, I can add it, and maximum risk, I can add it. Click OK, and I can see those in my screen as well. The max reward is infinity because you're holding a long call, and the maximum risk is whatever your premium was to buy that call. So it's an interesting concept. Remember, this is the quantity. By default, it's 5. If you wanted to change it, just come over here to the left, and you have a plus sign that allows you to see the details of this option. So you can see how it expands into more information. You have the direction, if it's a buy or a sell. You have the quantity, which you can adjust, the expiration. In fact, to remove some of the column headers and be able to compress as much information as you can see, we have removed the column headers for that second row. This is something that you can enable if you want to know what it is. For example, if you look at this over here, the 399, and you want to know what that value is, it's pretty much the market price, but the column header has been removed. If I right-click in this row, there's an option here that says Show Column Headers. So it does display the headers for you on that second row. Let me show you what that looks like. And you can see how it gives you the leg price, the volatility, the symbol. So if you like this view, you can keep it this way. But in order for us to condense the view, we've decided to remove it as the default. Because now the only way to hide this row is to click on the minus here to collapse the option. And when you open it up, it comes back with the column headers. Sometimes I like the column headers because I know exactly what I'm looking at. But if you want to disable those, just right-click and then uncheck the option that says Show Column Headers, and you can just see the row. The more you use OptionStation Pro, you'll know exactly what you're looking at. And sometimes having the column header there is not necessary. It's just, using up space in your OptionStation Pro. Okay. Now the price here, I see your question, Vincent, about changing the price. There is a check mark here on the price of the option. The price of the option will update in real time, but if you wanted to modify the price, just uncheck it, and then it allows you to manually adjust the price to any price that you want. You can even type it in if you wanted to do so. But clicking on the X goes back to the way that it was updating originally, where it just uses current data and it updates in real time as the option is traded. Okay. This is not, remember, this is only a theoretical order or theoretical position. This is not something that you're trading yet. It's something that I just built in order to analyze it and see what the Greeks are and what the maximum reward would be, or what the market price or the total investment would be. There's a lot of information that you can gather from just creating a theoretical position. We'll get to trading in a little moment, but this is just theoretical positions. Let me go ahead and collapse this because I just bought this call. I'm going to go back to my option chain. So this is my option chain tab. And let me show you some additional functionality. Let's say that I bought this 190 call. Now I'm going to sell the 189 call to create a vertical. So instead of clicking on the ask, I'm going to click on the bid. In fact, I'm going to sell the 189 call. I bought the 190 call. I'm going to sell the 189 call to create a spread. So I come over here to the bid price and I click on that price of the 189. Just a single click. OptionStation Pro is set to, when you do a single click on any of the bid or ask, it creates a theoretical position automatically. At the beginning, I wasn't seeing it, so every time that you click on one of these cells, you end up with so many theoretical positions that then you have to clean up your page, which is fine. I'll show you how you can do that as well. So let me come back here at the bottom and I'm going to go to theoretical positions, and I see my two single options. I see my long call and my short call. Each one of them has a little plus that I can expand. But I wanted to show you some additional functionality in TradeStation that we call it Spread Master, because from single options, these are two single options, you can build spreads. I entered a spread separately. First, I bought the call, I bought the 190 call, and then I sold the 189 call. How do I combine them? It's very easy. I'm just going to click on the little box here on the left-hand side, and this is interesting functionality. Just click on the little box here on the left and hold your mouse button and drag it to the top. I haven't released my mouse button, but notice that when I dragged it up, I get this little shade. It's kind of a purple shade, and you can see that plus on the left-hand side. That's letting me know that it's going to combine them. It's going to drop them one on top of the other. When I release, take a look at what happens. Now the type says vertical. I started off with separate calls. I clicked and dragged and created a vertical. Now when I click on the plus here on the left-hand side, I can see the two legs of my vertical. You can do this on any theoretical position you have. In fact, you can do this even on your real positions. We'll talk about real positions in a moment, but this is called Spread Master, allowing you to create spreads from single options or even separate a spread. Let's say that you have an iron condor or something that you want to separate. You can do it here as well. Okay. Vincent, you're right. Yes. Vincent's point is, why not buy in a vertical option? Very true. I wanted to start off with 2 calls so that you can see that you have that ability to combine them and make any changes to theoretical positions. But yeah, Vincent is right. You can go back to option chains and do it a little bit easier. For example, I can select here on the very top the spread type, and I can click on the drop down and select vertical from the get-go. So that way you don't have to go through the trouble of combining them. This will combine them for you. And you can see the strike price column. You can see how the 2 strike prices are combined. It combines the 189.5 with the 190. What if I wanted to create the same spread that I had, or that I created originally? The spread that I created originally was the 189 to 190, and I don't see the 189 to 190 displayed here. That's because when you build spreads in OptionStation Pro, it'll take strike prices that are next to each other. It won't skip strike prices. The only way you can do that is by playing around with what's called the strike interval. See, the strike interval is set to 1, which means that it's going to take strikes that are next to each other. If I come over here and I increase it to 2, my spreads are rebuilt skipping a strike price. And now I can see the 189, 190 as I had built it earlier. So always take a look at the strike interval. It allows you to skip certain number of strike prices. The same drop down is available for expiration. So if instead of a vertical, you are building another type of spreads that uses different expirations, you can tell the option chains to skip certain number of expiration dates. Let me go back here to my theoretical positions panel, because I have a theoretical position there. Let's say that you want to clear that out. You were just playing around. I don't want to see it anymore. You come over here to the right-hand side and you have some actions. When I click on actions, and I apologize for the menu that goes off the screen, but I'll try to read to you what it says. The first option is to trade it. Well, in this case, we don't want to trade it. There's an option here to delete it. So if you want to clear out any theoretical positions that you have here and you don't want to see them anymore, just click on delete position, and now you can see how the theoretical positions now is blank. I'm going to come back here to my option chains, and I'm going to trade that vertical by just clicking here on the buy or the sell, depending if you want a credit spread or a debit spread. So if I click on the ask and I go back to my theoretical positions, it's created a credit spread. If I open this up, again, I have the details on the options that make up that spread. So it's easier than what I did originally, but you also have that option. Now let's go ahead and trade this and see what it looks like. In fact, before we go to trade it, let's go ahead and analyze it, because I think it's good that we analyze some options before we trade them. Let's go here to the 2D graph and I'll show you some great analysis tools. This is the chart of the vertical spread that we have in the theoretical positions panel. Everything that you have in the theoretical positions panel that is checked, you see some check boxes here? The check boxes allow you to send that information over to the 2D graph. So whenever you see a graph, everything that is checked in the theoretical positions panel and the real positions panel is going to be combined into one graph. Let me show you what happens when I uncheck vertical and I go back to the 2D graph. You can see there's no graph. I go back to theoretical positions. If I want to chart for example, the long call, this one, I just check that buy call. When I go here to the 2D graph, this is a graph on the call. So anything that is checked is going to be combined into this graph. Back here to theoretical positions, I want to select the whole vertical. So everything is checked. So when I go here to the 2D graph, I see the graph and the P&L for this vertical. Let's take a look at some of the graphing functionality here so you can see what to expect. The yellow line is what the P&L looks like at this moment, right now. You can look at the yellow over here on the top left. It says January 26th, 2016. It gives you the P&L right now. And the blue line is at expiration. This option expires on the 19th of February, and you have what the P&L would be at the time of expiration. DTE means days to expiration, so the yellow line tells you that there's 24 days to expiration. You see the zero line, you see profits here above the zero line, and you see losses right here below the zero line. So we can see how if the price of the stock, which is down here at the bottom, if the stock of this price, if the price of the stock goes up somewhere in the 200, between 190 and 200, we start making some profits. If it goes down, then we start losing some money. So the graph does give you a visual of where the option is going to be and where should it go for us to make some profits, okay? Now, let's talk about probabilities. Lawrence asked about where do you see the probability? The probabilities are seen down here. We call that the probability cone. It tells you where the stock price is at the moment, which is the actual dot right there at the bottom, and the way that it expands to the left and to the right based on historical volatility. If you look at the top here, it tells you what it's using as for the probabilities. It's using one standard deviation above and one standard deviation below. So this is a 68% probability that spiders will be between this price on top and this price, based on the historical volatility of spiders, which is 17.5%. We can make changes to that probability cone. In fact, when I look at probability cone, I like to display the prices because over here, I just have to make an approximation of what those prices are. So when I look at the probability, I like to enable the labels so that I can see the exact prices. So let me go over here to my settings button. And under the 2D graph settings, I want to say show cross points. As soon as I do that, notice how the prices show up on the screen. Let me leave it like that for a moment. So now I can see Spider is trading at 189.77. That's the current price. And there's a 68% probability that it'll be between 181 and 193 24 days out, which is days till expiration. The days that you see here on the left-hand side, those are days to expiration. That's based on historical volatility. If you wanted to change the standard deviations to something that gives you a 95% historical volatility, we come over here to the settings tab again, and it tells you the number of standard deviations over here. You have decimal places, so you don't have to jump all the way to 2 standard deviations. You can do 1.5 standard deviations. Let's change it to 2. As I'm changing it, you can tell how the cone gets wider. So let's set it to 2 standard deviations. And now, notice that this is a 95% probability that spiders will be between 173 and 207 until the expiration date. There's a lot of other information that you see or that you can enable on this graph. By default, the graph only shows you the P&L right now, which is the yellow line, and the P&L at expiration. But what if you wanted to see the P&L profile of this option halfway through expiration? Let's say that right now is the 26th of January. You want to see how this option is going to be valued the second week of February. Well, let's go over here to settings. The 2D graph settings again. You can increase the number of plots, and I can add a third plot, which is down here. And I can change the color of that plot. Let's say that I want to make something that stands out different than the other plots. Let's do magenta. And the magenta plot has a slider that allows you to set the expiration. So the expiration on the left side is now, on the right side is expired. So notice what happens to the magenta line, and you can see how the movement of that magenta line is affected as I slide that expiration date. In fact, if you look here in the probability cone, you can see the exact date where that line is being valued, where it's being calculated. Right now it's the 12th of February. So let me slide it again and take a look at the date. You can set it at the exact date that you think you're going to exit that position. And let's say the 10th of February. And there we go. So now you have three lines. You have the value of that option right now, the value of that option the 10th of February, and the value of that option at expiration. Interesting concepts. And you can enable all this functionality right here in the 2D graph. Okay. You also have the ability to zoom. Like, look at the cursor right now. When I'm hovering over the graph, it says pan, because I can click and drag that graph to just move it over to the left and to the right. If I take my cursor and I move it here to where the price is, I can click and drag to expand the prices of the graph and see more detail of the stock price. So you have to move your cursor on top of the prices and move them left and right in order to compress or expand the view and look at all the different prices there. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the additional settings here. Because I do see your question, Paul, about simulate implied volatility change. If I go over here to the top, and the volatility source is using historical volatility, but you're not, fixed on historical. If you click inside that field, you can also set it to a fixed volatility value. So if you want to do calculations on a percentage volatility that you choose, you just select fixed, and it allows you to set a volatility value of your own. And you can see how it affects, the probability cone down here. Or you can do the VIX volatility, and notice how the volatility changes. By default, it uses historical volatility. Now, the historical volatility adjustments, you can just say, what if historical volatility goes up by 10%? And then you see how the volatility gets affected also. And you can increase and decrease, the volatility and see how that affects the valuation of the option. All right. And another setting here, historical volatility bars back. It's using 90 bars of the stock's historical volatility in order to calculate those values as well. So that's something that you can adjust also. Someone's asking about, Pat, your question is, compress the graph vertically by clicking on the y-axis. I believe you cannot. I'm clicking here and dragging, and no, it's all based on whatever the value of the option is. So whatever the maximum gain or the maximum loss is, that it's what's going to determine the scale here on the left-hand side. Now, once you visualize what the graph looks like on a 2D panel, we have a way to look at the profile on a 3D panel. Let's take a look. It's not so much different, it's just a different perspective of the valuation of the option. Let's take a look. Let me come over here to the 3D graph, and this brings up this chart right here. Let's take a look, because this provides you an additional dimension. You still see the stock price over here in one of the axes. We saw that in the 2D graph. We see the P&L here on the left-hand side. But now we see a depth here that is based on the expiration date and the dates. But this provides you a different view of what the option P&L looks like. And you can see that as the price goes up is when you're going to be in the profits. But if the price goes down, you're going to be in the loss. If you take a look at the way that this is the way that we're looking at this graph. In fact, I'm just clicking and dragging, and that's why it's just shifting around. This line right here is a very straight line because that's at expiration. But if I move this chart around, I can just turn it around, and you can see the round line, which is right now. This is today's date, January 26th. So as the date goes into the future and it approaches the expiration date, you can see how the P&L changes. It may not be so apparent here because the changes in expiration don't quite change this valuation a lot, but in a lot of other spreads and that are more sensitive to expiration, you'll see how this comes into play. Perfect. Let's go ahead and show you how to trade this spread. I'm going to come here to my theoretical positions panel. Let's trade this. I'm going to come over here to actions and I'm going to click on trade. That's the way that you trade it. Once you've analyzed your option and you've looked at theoretical positions, let's trade it. When you click on trade, it brings up what's called the OptionStation Pro order bar. You can add more details here about the order. You can change the quantity. See, right now it's set to 5 contracts. If you want to reduce it to 1, you can. The order type, if it's limit, or if you want to do a market order of a stop order, you can. And by default, it's using the natural price, but you can use the mid price too. Okay. The order bar also allows you to do activation rules. We talked about this earlier. If you want to activate an order that takes you out of a position before a certain time, you can do a checkbox here for activation rule. Click on the ellipsis here, and then you have a similar dialog that TradeStation platform has where you can set activation rules based on time, and you can also set activation rules based on price. You can combine them as well. So it doesn't have to be one at a time. You can do a time activation combined with a price activation, and they're both going to be counted towards your activation. Okay. Vincent, your question about the calculation of the prices here. Remember that natural is just a straight what's coming in and what's going out of your account. You know, what the call is. When you buy the call, the price of the call, and when you sell the call, what's the price of that call as well. And that's the natural calculation or the value of the spread. The mid is just using the midpoint between the bid and the ask. So that's what that calculation is using. See, we can take a look at the prices here. We can see how when you buy the call is 444 and when you sell the call is 383. The difference is exactly 61 cents. So that's the natural calculation. But 58 is just going to use the bid and the ask of each one of these options and take the midpoint between the bid and the ask of those two, if you want to use the midpoint of that spread. Interesting. Let's place this order. I'm going to use the natural price and place the order. The price is 14% below last quote. I'm going to say continue. Yes. I get the confirmation window and I say yes. Now, once the order is gone, where do I look at? Where do I take a look? Well, I can come here to the orders tab. You have an orders tab. This will tell you all the orders that have been, sent in your account, in your options account. They are going to be sorted in chronological sequence. The most recent, I believe, by default is going to be at the bottom. But if you want the most recent to be at the top, just click on the entered little triangle over here, and it will resort your orders. Now, you do see more information here because I was placing some orders before the class started. But the one that is in black, that's my open order. And if you look at the status over here on the right, this is the order status. It says received. If I come over here to the left and I open it up, I can see the details. I can see the symbols that it's trading. I can see the side that it's taking, buy to open and sell to open. And I can see the different prices and information of the order. Now, this order has not been filled. It's an order that is sitting, waiting to get filled because it's waiting for my limit price, which is 61 cents. This order that I see here is also visible in TradeStation. So if you go to the Trade Manager within TradeStation, you should see this order also. But here on the right-hand side, I got an Actions button. When I click on it, I have different options to do. And I apologize for the menu, running off the screen. You won't be able to see it, but I'll read off what the options here. First, there's a Cancel Replace. It says Cancel Replace. The other one is Create a Duplicate Order. Third option is Create an Opposite Order. And you can take a look at the menu here on your own personal copy of OptionStation Pro. And the last one is Cancel Order, if you wanted to cancel that order. Let's see that I do a Cancel Replace. When I click on Cancel Replace, it brings up again my OptionStation Pro order bar if I wanted to change my limit price. What I want to do is I want to change the order type to a market order. I want to switch it to a market order so I can get filled immediately. And I'm going to say, place my order. Tells me about my price. It's 15% below the last quote. That's fine. I'm going to say yes. Gives me the confirmation. I click yes, and I get filled. Not sure if you heard the audible confirmation, but I got filled. I can see how the order turned blue, and blue in TradeStation means that your order is filled. You can see the order status, and it says filled. How do I look at my positions? We have a tab dedicated to real positions, and I'm going to click on real positions, and I can see my options right in there. Now the spread that we sent, or the order that we sent in the spread, was filled as a spread and is being monitored by the exchange as a spread. In OptionStation Pro, though, when you come here to the real positions, I'm not sure if you noticed, but I do see singles here. I see my 189 call as a single, and I see my 190 call as a single. They're not here as a spread because OptionStation Pro allows you to manage that trade in different ways and build different spreads out of it, and that's what's called Spread Master. If I wanted to see my spread, it's very simple to do. You just have to click on the left here, drag it. We've seen that purple shading. Once you see that, it's going to combine them two, and now they're grouped into a vertical. So it's an additional step for you to build your options again into what they originally started as, or into something different. So now I have my vertical here. If you wanted to exit that vertical, just come here to Actions, and I have different options here. Let me see if I can bring this over a little bit so that you can see it better. Let me just move it over here, and then click on Actions. There we go. We have Reset Position, Create New Position, Close this position, Roll this position, Merge common legs, and Lock Position. Lock position is just to make sure that you don't accidentally modify the spread. So if you want to lock it, you can do that. It doesn't have any effect on what your position is doing in the market. It's just on the platform. In OptionStation Pro, you cannot edit it. You can roll this position. If it's about to expire and you want to roll it into a future expiration date, you can do that. And look at, if I click on roll this position, notice how it'll give me what my current position is and what it's going to be rolled into. February 19th is the expiration date. The one that it picked is February 26th, but I can choose a different expiration if I want to roll it to that expiration. I'm going to cancel out of this, go to Actions, because what I really want to do is just close this position. When you click on Close this position, it takes you back to the OptionStation Pro order bar, and you can close it with any type of order. It can be a limit order, it can be a stop order, it can be an activation rule. What I'm going to do for demonstration is just say market order so that I can get out right now. Place the order. And I say yes. Oh, give me just a moment. Let me do that one more time. I click it, close this position, Let's do a market order. Place the order. Let's say if this goes through.
Order filled.
And yes, the order is filled. I get out. I get filled at market. The real positions panel is emptied out. Okay, if I go back to my orders tab, I can keep an eye on my exit order, take a look at what happened and what my filled price was. It filled one spread, and I can see my filled price right there. Let's go ahead and take a look at some other examples. Let me go here to my option chain. Let's say that I buy into this spread, the 188, 189. And I also, on the other side, I want to do the same thing to the 189 and 190 put. So I'm creating two verticals. When I go over here to my theoretical positions, it added those two verticals to my screen. I don't need this third vertical, so I can go over here to the right-hand side and say delete this position. So I just want to concentrate on the two ones that I just added. Okay, so I have my two verticals. What I can do from here is I can either combine them to trade them as an iron condor. In fact, if you go to the 2D graph, let me show you something really interesting. When I go to my 2D graph, you can take a look at the graph and you can see how it's a graph that looks just like an iron condor because it's combining the two verticals. If you want to separate them, you just uncheck one of them, and then when you go to the 2D graph, then you see the actual graph of just one vertical. If I come here to my theoretical positions, again, if I want to combine these two verticals, I click on one, drag it on top of the other, and notice how now it says that it's an iron butterfly. So there's a spread recognition. And what I did is I just dropped them on top of each other, and it created an iron butterfly. All the different spread building technology are available not only in the theoretical positions panel, but also in the real positions panel. Let me show you how. Let me go ahead and put in this trade. I'm going to trade this iron butterfly as a market order. So I'm going to come here to actions, traded. I got my order details. I'm going to go to market, place my order.
Order filled.
The order is filled so that when I go to my real positions, see my real positions show singles again. And you do have to get used to that functionality because you enter a spread, OptionStation Pro in the real positions panel is going to spread them into single legs, allowing you to do your own configuration. Because now, remember, I entered this as a iron condor, and I can build it from here. I can just keep on dropping them on top of each other. And once you've created the whole group, it creates an iron butterfly. So now I have an iron butterfly. Or you can separate it. Let's say that I want to do my calls on one side and my puts on the other. I'm going to drag this. Before I drag it, let me do the following because I won't be able to drag it there. I'm going to go to Actions and create New Position. This creates a custom shell. It has no legs in it, but I can take my two calls and drop them right in there. I drop one, I take the other, and I drop it in there. So now I'm showing two verticals in my real positions panel. So I can take one of them and say, well, I want to exit the put side on my iron condor. I'm going to go to Actions, close this position. It only applies to that side. I'm going to do a market order, place the order, say yes.
Order filled.
So now it exited one side or the put side of my iron condor. So I'm just showing you this functionality because even though I entered the trade as an iron condor with 4 legs, when I went over here to my real positions, I was able to build it back to an iron condor. I then split it into 2 verticals, and I was able to exit just one vertical out of that iron condor. So it does give you that flexibility of modifying your spreads and entering and exiting in any way that you think it's better for you. If you're looking for P&L on a spread, you can see it right over here. If you go to, let me see. If you go to your real positions will give you a an estimated closing cost, an estimated closing P&L right here, your P&L. If you need more information, right-click on Format Columns, and you have all sorts of different calculations that you can add. But if you're looking for P&L of your open positions, it's right here in the Real Positions panel. Also, you'll see a running total at the bottom. So if you have multiple positions, you'll see them grouped here at the bottom. Let me show you something interesting. If I come over here to the option chains, and let's say that I load a different symbol here. I'm going to go to Bank of America, let's say. This is Bank of America. Again, I have my verticals for Bank of America. Let's say that I want to do an iron condor from here. So I'm going to go here to an iron condor. I have 4 different strike prices. I'm going to click on the asking price of this particular iron condor. I click on it. And now when I go to my theoretical positions, I see the iron condor right there. My real positions, if I go to real positions, I still see my position for Spider, which is interesting. So even though I've changed the symbol to Bank of America, the real positions panel provides you a view of all your open positions. Let me go here to my theoretical positions panel and trade that iron condor. Again, I'm just doing quick trades, no analysis, so that I can show you the functionality. I'm going to change the order type to market, place the order. The order gets filled. So when I go to my real positions panel, I have 2 groupings. I have my grouping for Bank of America, and I have my grouping for Spider. Take a look at the P&L right here at the bottom. It's all combined. And it gives you the additional calculations. Single legs for Bank of America, but I can combine them into one position if I wanted to do so. The functionality is still there. And I have the iron condor, and I have the vertical for Spider. If you want to group them differently, notice that they're grouped by underline. These are the groupings filtering. I like them a lot because it allows you to group whatever you see here into different categories. If I take that underline and I bring it over down here where the column headers are, notice that now it's part of the column here, and it tells right here, it says drag a column header here to group by that column. So if I want to maybe sort by the type, I take the type header, drop it in there at the top bar, and now they're sorted by type. Now you have all your iron condors, now you have all your verticals grouped together. If you wanted to sort them by expiration, let me take my type. If I want to sort them by expiration, I take the expiration header, drop it in there, and now they're sorted by expiration. These 2 options expire on the 19th of February, so they're grouped in one expiration date. But it does allow you that additional filtering where you can filter by, okay, let me take a look at the ones that are about to expire. So you group them by expiration date, and you can see the ones that need attention sooner than the others. Or let me sort them by any other column header that it's here, by the type, by the account, by the underline. There's a limited number of accounts you can use, but it does give you that extra filtering capability. I find that very interesting. Let me take the expiration back to where it was. The default grouping is underline, so you can see them grouped by underline, Bank of America options, and you have my Spider options. But they'll always be visible here in the real positions, which is great. All these positions are also available here in TradeStation, but I'm pretty sure you won't like to see your positions here because they are listed as single legs. You don't see the spreads. You don't see the P&L of the spread. You see the P&L of the single options. In fact, if I go here to the Trade Manager, Let me open this up a little bit. Now I go to my positions. You see your positions for, well, this is showing flat positions, the ones that I've exited. I'm not sure if you remember, but I showed you how to show the flats. If you just want to show the ones that are open, that is available here in View, Trade Manager Preferences, Positions tab. There's a checkbox that says here Show Flat Positions. I'm going to remove that, click OK, so that I only see what's open. I see my spiders, and I see my Bank of America single legs from here. TradeStation platform does not show them as spreads. If you want to see your spreads, you're better off going to OptionStation Pro, where you can group them here in the real positions panel and see the real-time P&L. Okay. Donald, your question on filtering by Greeks. And Vincent, I did see your question, how did you do that? I'm not really sure what you're referring to. Can you filter by Greeks? Let me see here in real positions. Let me format columns. And let's say that you do delta and you add it here. Okay. And yeah, delta is one of the groupings that no, it's not. See, if you drag a column header and you drop it here and it doesn't take it, is because you cannot create a filter based on Greeks. In fact, I believe the only ones that have the only ones that come up with a little icon right here in the corner are the ones that you can add. For example, type, underline, account, and expiration. Interesting. Lawrence, I do agree with you. A column that you can put in notes to, yeah, that's something that we don't have at the moment, but something that we can suggest our developers. Yes, thanks for the tip. I see your question, Theodora. What does the 135 mean at the bottom bar? 135 is the cost of this trade. You have a credit of 190, and you have a debit of 325 for spiders. So that gives you a cost of 135 in your account. That's what that means. And Vincent, a credit spread will show exactly like this. When this vertical is a credit spread. It shows a credit. I have a credit of 290. That's how it shows. Okay, one more feature that I wanted to show you before I end the class, which I think it's a great feature of OptionStation Pro because it does allow you to look at option spreads in a different way, is this one option called Search. The Search in OptionStation Pro will prompt you to provide what your market outlook is on any underlying asset. What do you think is going to happen? And the search will look for options or option spreads that will provide you with the best profit. Let me go ahead and resize this window again so we can look at the different values. This is Bank of America. Top left, it's showing us what the price of Bank of America is at the moment, $13.20. We know that the volatility for Bank of America, based on historical, is 29%. The model being used in the calculation here is Black-Scholes. It's using 8 strike prices above and below and 6 expirations out. So this is just the information that cannot be edited. It's just information on the underline. Here on the right-hand side, I have the strategy. What you want to do with your OptionStation Pro. What is your outlook? If I go here to the drop-down, of course you can have a bullish outlook, and you can tell the search if you want to take a limited risk or unlimited risk. You can also be bearish. You have the same 2 options. If the market is active, you have an option here for that, or the market is quiet. But these types of strategies will look for strategies or spreads that match your outlook. And of course, you can look for specific types of spreads. Let's do one example here. I'm going to go to bullish and limited risk. Okay, it tells you what type of strategies it's going to look for, like a sell put vertical, a buy call vertical, or a buy call. You can choose the strike interval We talked about this earlier. If you want to separate the strike prices and the spread a little bit more, you just have to increase that. But here in the next box that says Market Outlook is where you tell OptionStation Pro you think it's going to happen to Bank of America. So since we said that we are bullish, let's say that we think that Bank of America is going to have a projected price increase of 10%. So we're bullish and we think that it's going to go to $14.55. You have to tell OptionStation Pro when you plan on closing your trade. And I'm going to say I'm going to close my trade towards the end of February. That's when I think the outlook is going to play out. And if you want to change the volatility of Bank of America, which is 29.14, you think the volatility is going to change as the price increases, you could do that also. Let's say that we think that the volatility is going to change by 5% before the end of February. So we have our outlook right here. We have our filtering here. It's going to include call strategies, put strategies, buy strategies, and sell strategies. You can modify the filter if you want to do so. And when I scroll to the right here, you can rank the results by projected profit, which is the one that I've selected. I think by default it says probability of profit, which is another way of filtering your results. Let's just choose projected profit. Look for at least 100 results and then run the search. When it runs the search, it automatically gives me a list of different options that I can buy that would give me the most potential or the most profit if, of course, my outlook were to come true. Remember, this is all about what you put in here and what you think is going to happen to Bank of America. If what you think is going to happen really happens, then these are the positions that would give you the most profit, potentially would give you the most profit. This is the projected profit right here. Projected price, I'm sorry. This is the projected profit right here. So notice how it's sorted by projected profit because that's the filter that we selected. And you can do that with any type of strategy here. Let's say that you are, it's a quiet market. It's not moving very much and you want to take limited risk. Okay, you think the price is not going to go much anywhere. You run the search and then it gives you different positions here like a butterfly. Since we are in a quiet market, you want to take limited risk. You think the prices and volatility are going to stay the same when you want to make some profits before the end of February. So based on your outlook, these are the positions that would give you the most profit. If you want to take a look at any of the ones that are here, let's say that this one on top catches my attention. This is a long call butterfly with the strike prices that are there. I highlight it. If you have a big screen, you probably don't have to scroll, but now here on the right hand side, I click on Analyze, and by clicking on Analyze, OptionStation Pro takes that butterfly and puts it in my theoretical positions panel. I come over here, and it's right here, the butterfly. I have my butterfly and I have my iron condor, which I had previously. And remember, since all of these are checked, when I look at my 2D graph, this is what it looks like. This is my 2D graph combining my iron condor and my butterfly. If you want to be selective, just come here to my theoretical positions panel, uncheck the iron condor, leave the butterfly checked, and if I go to my 2D graph, my graph still looks a little odd, and I'll tell you why. Because this is also combining your real positions. So if I want to only concentrate on the iron condor that I just created, I come over here to my real positions. Actually, these are not checked. So for Bank of America, this is not checked. So I guess I'm looking at the real deal. So if you were to check this iron condor, and I come to the 2D graph, it's sending that iron condor here. But let me go here to my real positions, uncheck the iron condor, and go to my 2D graph, and this is what the actual iron condor P&L looks like based on the strike prices that I created. Again, this is just a theoretical position. You are open to trade it if you need to do so from the theoretical positions panel. Okay, a couple things that I wanted to show you as well. Let me go here to option chain. We talked about symbology. If I switch back this to spider, and instead of iron condors, I just click on single. If I want to look at a chart, if you look at the top right, I have my symbol linking turned on to a global symbol link. Yeah, green. And let me show you TradeStation now. If I go to if I go to TradeStation and I go to my chart, this chart is also actually not right now, but I'm going to go here to the drop down and select a global link for my chart. So right now I'm looking at the 190 call. Let me go over here to OptionStation Pro, and let's say that something else catches my attention and I want to look at the 192 put. So I click on one of the columns here to highlight the 192 put side. When I go over here to my TradeStation, then I see the chart of the 192 put. So symbol linking works very nicely when you want to look at a chart of an option, and you can link them together so you don't have to go through the trouble of entering such a long symbol. Just window linking works very nicely. Okay. Phil, I see your question about which OptionStation Pro version you're using. OptionStation Pro, remember that is part of the TradeStation platform. So you'd have to go here to TradeStation and about TradeStation 9.5, and this would tell you what update or what version you're using for TradeStation, which is the same version of OptionStation Pro. Phil, thank you for the suggestion. That's very true. Yes, you can load a list of options in Radar Screen, and you can insert a custom note if you want to do a special note or make yourself a reminder as a note in a column. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, we have a couple minutes before we end the class, so if there's any last-minute questions, this is your chance to have an answer here during the live class. I know that many of you have emailed me. I still have some emails in my inbox that are still in my to-do list. So if I haven't responded to you, give me today or tomorrow, and I'll make sure to provide you with an answer. But if you have any follow-up questions on any of the functionality that we showed you here today, feel free to email me. I'm glad to answer those questions as we go along. Okay, well, this is the end of this class. I want to thank you for your time. Remember that tomorrow we're going to do lesson number 10. Talks about news, time and sales, research, browser, and ticker bar. So it's a combination of different tools in TradeStation. So if you haven't registered for that class, please do so. I'm going to conclude this event saying that it was a pleasure spending this time with all of you, and I'm going to stay here for a couple more minutes just to answer any last-minute questions. But for me and everyone else here at TradeStation, thank you for your business, and you all have a very good night. See you tomorrow.